live. I think we're live, and I think people requested some tunes, so I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if any of these songs will stick. I barely remember my Soundgarden. It's very hard, and they're all in weird tuning. So I think when I was like 15, I figured out maybe a few of the Soundgarden tunes. But we're gonna get to the news. I have my little notepad assembled with little hyperlinks to react to stuff. World Matrix Report is live. Yeah, the Albertan is here. That's great news. It's funny. It says 0 concurrent viewers, but that people type back. It's weird. They really fuck with me, but I just go on, and then I realize after, I'm like, you know what? They're fucking with you. But the first request I saw was The Day I Tried to Live. Well. I don't think I'll sing. It's way too hard for me, guys. Best I can do on that one. Let's check what else was requested. Who's got this? Smashing Pumpkin. Silverfuck. Okay, that's a hard one. But for Smashing Pumpkins, what do we got? Joy Political Orgasm. This is the one I know right now. Someone said, "Come as you are." Come on, let's get real. Remarkably hard to sing. I'm not going to try it. Someone said... Alright, it's been a long time for a lot of Nirvana. I'll check. I'm not going to let someone request something that doesn't get on to the request bill, but let's follow. I don't know the Melvins. Sorry, Franklin. I don't know the Melvins well. Let's check the replies down here. Damn that river. Yeah. What a great album, Dirt. Someone requested before that. Wood. Don't really remember what's else by them. I got the. That's a good song. Don't remember what that's called, but it's a good one by Alice in Chains. Let's see. Sabotage, Beastie Boys. That sounds like one I could learn. No, I'm not going to try it. Alive, Jesus, Machine Head, good Lord. Who doesn't remember Machine Head? Got a machine head, it's not a very organic head. It's a robot but talks like you. Alive. A little bit of McCready, not much. Wood by Alice in Chains. Queens of the Stone Age I love. Probably my favorite band to listen to, but not much in the name of songs behind it. Yeah, I'm not playing along. Thank you, Clay. It says, we'll ban you if you use copyright material. And I think that's why my last video, I was playing along with like Megadeth, and That's probably why people have a hard time seeing it. It's just locked on like 84 views, and it's weird. It doesn't even show up unless I'm like in my channel mode, like in my studio user settings. So yeah, I'm not playing along with them anymore. Thank you, Clay. I've learned my lesson from the last stream. I don't remember any Queens of the Stone Age songs. My favorite band to listen to, but I don't really learn their songs. I know In My Head, I think that's a song by them. Era Vulgaris, is that the one? I don't know. Is that it? Has anyone tuned? Oh, it says 4. The number says 4. Maybe I should get started. Maybe it's enough dicking around. But I just want to, like, people that make a request, I've got an obligation to these people, except the Melvins fans. I mean, you've prompted me to get into the Melvins, and then probably from there learn something. Damn That River by Alice in Chains. How's that one go? You couldn't damn that river. Yeah, I don't know. I'm losing it on Alice in Chains. Heaven Beside You I used to be able to play. Can't remember it on the fly, though. It's really hard on the spot. It's like someone whacking you in the head telling you to name cereals. Is there any other? I wish someone would request STP. That I know all day, guys. So hopefully some more requests have come in, or we just get started, you know. STP, I know a bunch of that. The hardest chords ever. If you want to learn chords, learn STP, because he does chords that just make you die. This one, the first, hardest chords. What the hell are these chords? Let's just practice that. Hardest chords. STP, Where the River Goes. Awesome blues tune. Dean DeLeo wrote that on the first album. First album is like a lot of drop D. What is that? Anything else in drop D? Well, you guys. I don't know. What else? What else is in drop D that's kind of cool? It's grungy. Oh, you could do the. Turn it down. Turn it down to do this part. Sorry guys, I'm just into whatever's drop D now. Nearly Lost You. Oh yeah, that song's pretty cool. Sorry Mick, don't know Screaming Trees. I'll learn it for you. You start retweeting shit. Mick is the king of liking stuff but not retweeting it. Then I click on his thing. I'm like, maybe he retweets someone. Oh no, he retweets people. Okay, Mick, I know what you're doing. That's Nirvana. What song's that? I'm a Stain. Oh, Chris Burke's here. He's a good guitar player. Don't name anything that's too good, Chris. Velvet Revolver, they're pretty rad. Reminds me of GNR. What do we got? Flip it to the neck pickup, and then you'll fucking chill like Slash wants to. Oh, I'm okay. I'll be all right. Anything else out there? I think we'll just get to it. Is this enough fucking around for everyone? Okay. Thanks for everyone for joining. But I saw the news today. Just a general roundup is like, let me turn down that amp microphone. We got 2 microphones in here, okay? 2 SM58s running the show. This is gonna drop. You see how precarious that is, Chris? This is like my pride and joy, and it's not mounted well. I'm just gonna be honest with everyone. So when it becomes a big fail that drops on a show during a stream, it's going to mean viral views. So it might be worth it. It might be worth a, $2,000 guitar just going down the drain for just viral moments. I have an acoustic, Chris. I got it back. I lent it to my neighbor who's got like a son that was having like issues with lockdown, and so I gave him my acoustic because he like asked me to tune his, and like the action was so bad. You know those retarded acoustics that are just designed to make people lose faith in playing guitar so they never learn how. So I felt bad, and I wanted to like give him mine that has good action on it, and because I never play it because I'm just in the mode of always playing electric. So I gave it to him, and I said, look, if by March next year, so March 21, it was probably October 2020, I said, if by March next year you like guitar, because I've given you a good acoustic that's easy to play, then give that back to me. I'm not giving it to you. It's a borrow. And then I'll come with you to the guitar store because I am the king of getting really good $300 guitars. If you're not willing to pay $300, just go yourself. Just ask the guy in the store and be taken advantage of. But if you're willing to pay $300, if you like it that much because you got into it and you saved up your paper route money, then I'll come with you into that store and we'll play every fucking $300 guitar, and I'll make detailed notes and we'll get you the best you can buy. So I never heard anything from him. And then like a month ago, I'm like, need the guitar back, dude. I'm not trying to be an Indian giver here, but it's coming home with me because Chris is telling me that I can't play acoustic because I play fucking electric too much. So I enjoy it. My favorite songs, I put it in weird-ass tuning to play Seasons by Chris Cornell because that's probably the stairway to heaven of all acoustic songs for me. And it should be yours too, Chris. And if you're not playing that on your streams, I'm going to not send you Patreon through Odyssey. So Seasons is my request, and you got $5 guaranteed from me. I'll take it out of my kids' piggy bank. But with that, the news was shit. Garbage guitars are for slide. Yeah, that's true. For your weird tunings. And I can't even motivate myself to go into weird tunings. But yeah. But the news today was just the same bombardment. They act as if the election's not happening because the Matrix people want you to think as least as possible and not be part of the process. Let's get to the notepad on this one, though. Let's get to the notepad. Sorry for blocking the comments there. What do we got? COVID is fine for pregnant women. Okay, yeah, this sounds great. This will be a wonderful one. That was the first story I can. And I literally just go, everyone does this, or everyone can do this. Go to your top stories and see what the CBC and Global are peppering us with. That's all I'm doing. I'm just reacting to what the Matrix is feeding the zombies to remind us that we're on the same page and we are absolutely correct and we always have been. Let's go to the channel.
I saw how...
There it is, this woman. Oh, Jesus. Look at how much these people are clearly reading from. And one day I'll have Avogati's or Luke to be a producer that lines this shit up. But for now, we're going to do it cheap and dirty. Cheap and dirty with me doing it. Yeah. Let's see. This is the first story that came up for me. The pregnancy concerns. They have a lot of fucking nerve, I'll tell you that much.
I saw how sick other pregnant people were getting. All the information coming out showed how safe and effective the vaccine truly is.
Clearly reading. Can you see this is clearly a reading, a woman reading?
And I didn't want my toddler to grow up without a mother if I got sick before the vaccine.
I made a decision to get vaccinated.
Yeah, because that mother was 85 with 2 comorbidities. It's actually a miracle that she could carry a child to term with all the fraught danger held in getting the flu.
While pregnant in my third
Isaac,
trimester.
what's up, man?
Pregnant women should be more worried about the risks of getting COVID.
Clearly reading. They were sent an email. Hey, are you willing to read this and like come on as an anecdotal story of, hey, I got vaxxed and my kid didn't die?
19.
Health experts are urging pregnant women to get vaccinated.
Who the fuck would urge? What kind of health quote-unquote expert? I'll tell you who. Top Dr. Mountain experts.
But some are still hesitant to do it because of anecdotal evidence about side effects.
You just presented anecdotal evidence. 2 chicks reading an email. Do you think there was any passion or conviction in what they believed? Like, what are these people?
Here to tackle those concerns and so much more are Dr. Ileana Castillo, who is co-leading a national team studying COVID.
Okay, I didn't want to listen to this whole thing. This is one of the longer. It's 5:43. So I said jump to 2:52. Let's see what's on 2:52.
The unborn baby as well.
Let's get to the beginning of what this host says, because she really cares. She really cares, guys.
COVID-19. And what about the unborn baby as well?
We have very solid evidence.
Listen to how cut this is. Chop, chop, edit, edit. Like, even that, just cutting to her, was a different take.
To document that COVID-19 infection increases the chances of hospital admission and admission to intensive care unit when we compare the risk that people of the same age that pregnant women would have in comparison.
Polluted data. They're always been using polluted data. So someone who's massively obese, diabetic, comorbid, of the same age as a pregnant woman, though, is who they're going to compare it against. So they assure you that when you compare it to this, and we test like everyone that could have other stuff, but we just treat it like it's just COVID because our tests are throttled and political in nature, and we compare that to a pregnant woman, compared to that, you probably should take it.
And what we know is that risk with the variants of concern is even worse than the risks that we knew COVID could pose to pregnancy a year ago. For the unborn baby, the biggest consequence is the risk of prematurity that can come.
You see that one? You see that hard cut? This woman got chopped a bunch. I remember watching this originally and going, wow, she got chopped up, and you don't really know what she's saying. How are they certain? The trials never went through a full term of a pregnancy. It wasn't even a long enough trial to pre-authorize it, yet they keep calling it approved. This use of deceptive language, these are some very evil people.
With developmental consequences for the babies because they are born too early. And there is emerging research that also knows that even for women who have a very mild COVID infection, the placenta may fail to develop properly.
So it can be a dire situation indeed. Dr. Dunn, we heard from a viewer.
And I don't believe these people. They have lied so much. Like, just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're immune from criticism, doesn't mean that you can't completely pollute the whole process. Like hydroxychloroquine, fake doctor, 100,000 people, fake study. You know, Sept Desai, Surgisphere, I'll never forget about that. The day that all the doctors got on board with pausing the trials of hydroxychloroquine. But these are experts? These are experts who ignore a treatment that could lower the 85% hospitalization rates, and they don't do it. What the fuck are they doing? So let's just compare. This is an example of how top doctors... Get out of this screen.
Who wanted
Get out of
to
this
know
screen. Shut up. Go here. Go here. Okay. This is effective hydroxychloroquine in hospitalized patients, and this is a purely political study. This was after Sept Desai and Surgisphere said hydroxychloroquine sucks. Oh, wait, that's an entirely fake test that was showing that there was heart QT prolongation. They needed something else. and the Oxford Recovery Project and Professor Horby was just waiting in the wings. And so they found, like, there's 6 ways from Sunday you can set up a study to make it give you the output you want. Like, oh, these are severely hospitalized patients that right on their death's door we give them hydroxychloroquine. And I'm not even going to go through the abstract of this. A conclusion: patients hospitalized with COVID-19, hydroxychloroquine was not associated with reduction in 28-day mortality, but was associated with an increased length of hospital stay and increased risk of progressing to invasive mechanical ventilation or death. I don't trust a word about this because it's Bill. Where's Bill? Boom. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, okay? Bill and Melinda Gates and the Chan Zuckerberg. It is literally a cavalcade of corruption in this study, and yet this is the only study in a herd of dozens of studies that have said hydroxychloroquine isn't good. And surprise, surprise, it's Bill and Chan Zuck that are all over this one. Melinda, and Chan Zuck. So there you go. This is the polluting of experts and the whole destruction of science by Top Doctor Mountain. So maybe we'll get back to these guys. I think they said some more stuff that just had my jaw dropping.
Is there any evidence that the COVID-19 vaccine can cause infertility?
First of all, yes, there is. The animal trials showed in the rats that there was 16% infertile rats who are known for breeding, but whatever.
Yeah, I have heard concerns from
doctor.
my patients and on social media about infertility and about changing periods.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about that because it's happening.
Right
You
now,
think
there
they're
is
lying?
no plausible biological mechanism nor any research that suggests that the COVID vaccine causes infertility or that it changes periods with any enduring or harmful consequence. Now, it's
Plausible mechanisms? It's not plausible. It's like they studied the autopsied body of, hold on, let's go, Dr. Bridle, biodistribution. Okay? You want this?
important
You're
to
going to get
realize-
it, girl. Here we go. Oh, hold on one second. Hello? Yeah. No, I'm here for a while. Yeah, it doesn't... Yeah. Maybe we should go our own ways. Maybe it's not worth it, okay? I don't care. I'm on a stream. It can go to hell. Sorry, guys. Let's go with this. And I was joking, by the way. I didn't really answer that.
Traditional vaccine technologies, what we know is that when the vaccine is injected, in this case into the shoulder muscle, normally the vaccine would stay in the shoulder muscle. But in this case, this study indicated that as little as 25% of the dose remains in the shoulder muscle. The rest of the dose seems to distribute systemically throughout the body, seeding all kinds of tissues. And so there's a couple of concerns. There was a peer-reviewed study that demonstrated that the spike protein that the vaccine causes our bodies to manufacture gets distributed throughout the bloodstream. But probably of even greater concern for me is this evidence that the vaccine itself, which carries the little blueprint for the spike protein from SARS coronavirus, that goes throughout our body and seeds all kinds of tissues, including at quite high concentrations, the ovaries. So, for example, in the ovaries, one of the things that I noted is that...
High concentrations in the ovaries. Okay, well, yeah, so it's already going throughout the body. You don't know what you're talking about. Talking with vaccine certainty, the biggest problem in all of this is talking about vaccine certainty.
After 48 hours, if you look at the amount of the vaccine left in the shoulder, we actually end up, females end up with about 7% of that dose in the ovaries, which is of concern. And of course, what happens is if the vaccine is seeding a tissue like the ovaries, this is providing the genetic blueprint to the cells in the ovaries, meaning that those cells will now start manufacturing the spike protein. And we're also starting to learn that the spike protein itself can be toxic to the body. And as we generate antibodies against the spike protein, if we have cells, for example, in the ovaries that are now starting to express the spike protein on their surface, our own antibodies are going to be attacking our own cells.
Okay, I want to...
Good Lord. Stop interrupting him, Laura. He was just hitting it out of the park there. So it's a toxin. It's going through your whole body. It's time to hit the brakes. This interview was God knows when. It was in August 23rd. So it should have all hit the brakes then. But no, they're certain. They're certain.
That vaccine manufacturers don't necessarily...
A toxin that is gathering in your ovaries and testes as well for men. Testes, your balls. But I've been listening to top doctors too long.
They ask about changes in periods when they do their phase 3 trials. And these are thoughtful questions. Women deserve answers.
And there was also Dr. Cole saying he saw a huge uptick in cervical cancers because the viruses that used to be opposed are getting destroyed. Do I need to go to Dr. Bauer? At some point, we'll go to Dr. Bauer saying that it's neutralizing antibodies are getting destroyed. So when you say you need it for COVID and it's good for pregnant women that are going through COVID, that's fucking bullshit too. It is absolute bullshit if you're going to knock out the neutralizing catch-all antibodies and you've only got one antibody for the pre-Delta variant. It does nothing. It absolutely does nothing. So I don't know if there's more gold in here, but let's listen.
Unfortunately, just this week, the NIH announced funding to study this problem. So we will get more information, but it will take some time.
Yeah, and that's the thing here.
But yeah, you're just saying to do it before you have more information. Oh yeah, it takes time. Oh yeah, they didn't include pregnant women on your studies. But you're encouraging them to do it because you had 2 women read an email of anecdotal evidence before you call people that are doubting anecdotal evidence. They don't understand that the burden of proof with a failed animal experiment should be on you to prove it's utterly safe before you roll it out on pregnant women. Jesus Christ.
Right? It's taken months to receive answers on how these vaccines may affect women's health. Dr. Castillo, final question here. What can drug manufacturers do, you think, to give women that peace of mind?
That's another hard cut. Totally different cut. I don't know if I want to hear her, but let's hear her.
And funders. So those that actually give money to the drug manufacturers, like for example, Sept, they can change the order in which they do their studies to actually include pregnant women in research. So both drug manufacturers, but very importantly, the funders need to make it a
What's with these cuts? Like, why'd they cut back to this host? This woman has been chopped up 6 ways from Sunday just for this interview. And she just said, what we can do is, follow the order of operations where we enter pregnant women into the trials, like a very few of them that are fucking nuts, I guess, into the trials first, so we know. So we don't need to just tell you, hey, we're hopeful, but please go risk the flu. Please go risk the flu by taking this injection that Dr. Bridle's saying is an absolute toxin that is not staying in your arm and your lymph nodes, that's flowing throughout your whole fucking body. But it gets worse. This is just what they do day to day for the zombies. But let's go, Mark. I had a Mark Friesen with the McCullough. You guys have seen that one. It's fucking great. But here's the next story that came up on the feed on the top stories of the day today. Top stories.
We could definitely be looking at vaccine availability for children under 12 still this year.
Oh, really? Why? Yeah, hi, journalist lady with the glasses. You look really smart. Maybe you're Supergirl. Maybe you'll take them off and start flying around saving crimes, because you're certainly not doing it standing in front of this rusted-ass busty sign, not following the instant question, and because I've seen it and it's very short, why? Why put children into something when it's like 10 times less deadly than seasonal flu? Where were you guys before this when the seasonal flu was killing however many kids, 10 or 15 a year?
Alberta continues to downplay the likelihood of transmission of COVID in our schools. There could be some good news on the horizon for those not old enough to get the vaccine.
There's the 2 main vaccines that are being tested and
good news if you're a psychopath. Good news if you thought like the flu was deadly before.
Clinical trials ongoing in children under the age of 12.
Fucking parents.
Right now, that's the mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna.
The Pfizer vaccine trial of 5 to 11-year-olds is a few weeks ahead of
5-year-olds. Imagine having a 5-year-old and saying, oh, I can't wait to put her in the trial. I can't wait to put her in a trial that's seen myocarditis among the fucking 12s and ups. These people are absolute lunatics putting their children in danger for something that couldn't possibly be efficacious, because if it's 0.02% chance you're going to die, you think the vaccine contains that magical 0.02 that's going to get you to 100% without the benefit or without any doubt of side effects, medium or long term down the road, and you've seen that it flows through the body. You've seen Dr. Bridle do the biodistribution test, which says it flows through your whole fucking body and it's making your healthy tissue express spike proteins that your fucking antibodies will attack. You want to put this in a child, you psychos?
Moderna's, and has already increased its sample size after the U.S. regulatory body asked for that measure.
It's possible that you could see results by the end of September for the Pfizer vaccine, regulatory submission, and the possibility of approval.
What are you going to see results? Like the one kid that died that probably died of something else, but you ran a jacked up test on him afterwards, or her? What are you going to see as results? less than one person dying is your thing, and then you're going to have to bury all the bodies of the myocarditis and all the other kids who are going to have horrible reactions that just get swept under the rug. The whole Top Doctor Mountain and City News experts that they put together are some really sick fucks. These are some really sick fucks that pretend you're all 85 years old and comorbid, or they could use the logic, well, we got to do the kids to stop transmission. Oh, wait, it doesn't stop transmission. Why the fucking attack by these guys? I want to remember this doctor's name.
Sure.
Dr. Kellner says these trials are taking place in several countries across the globe and here in Canada. The key is finding the right dose.
Both the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine are using lower doses because the initial results have shown that giving a lower dose is just as effective and may be associated with fewer side effects.
Right now, Cuba, Chile, China, El Salvador, and the United Arab Emirates have approved vaccines for younger children. Kellner says if the Pfizer trial goes well, stateside kids could be getting shots in arms in October, but it may take a bit longer here in Canada. We reached out to AHS for comment. In a statement, they wrote that if they are approved, it will be Alberta Health that makes the decision on the eligibility in the province. We did not hear back from the Ministry of Health before broadcast. In Calgary, Tara Overholt.
So the same results of myocarditis that were in the older kids will come in younger kids. And you had, I think it was Dr. Cole talking about how once that heart tissue gets inflamed, he shows like a picture of scar tissue. And it's like your heart will never be the same. It will never regenerate. The muscle is damaged. You want to sign your kids up for heart muscle damage because you want to protect them from 0.02% mortality rate. And it has no logic that it will stop transmission. And they've said that the Delta variant is almost... Let's watch that. This was gold. Mr. Friesen here released this little edited video.
City News.
Look at this.
Lockdown because we do not have enough New Zealanders currently vaccinated to stop an outbreak.
And you probably are well aware of this. In Israel, far more than 80% of people who are developing COVID-19 are fully vaccinated. The Delta peak in Israel is just as big as the pre-vaccinated peak. It's obvious the vaccine is not stopping Delta. Almost everybody has 80, 90%, 100% Delta. Go over to Singapore, same thing. Go over to Iceland, same thing. Gibraltar, same thing. Go up to the UK. Now we're talking about probably 50% of those with Delta are fully vaccinated. And of those who are dying in the UK, it's about 65% fully vaccinated. Okay, 65%. And the death rates among those hospitalized with Delta in the UK, as well as the United States, the death rates are higher than compared to unvaccinated.
So why are we in lockdown?
We're in lockdown because we do not have enough New Zealanders currently vaccinated to stop an outbreak.
So a paper by Fahrenholt in Houston studied these individuals, and they were the one to break the news that a fully vaccinated person can get Delta, contract it, and pass it to another vaccinated person. Venkatakrishnan started studying this and found that the Delta variant, the spike protein, had changed its conformation where the antibodies from Pfizer cannot hit it. So the antibodies from Pfizer now are useless. Even in high concentrations, they can't seem to hit Delta adequately.
So why are we in lockdown?
We're in lockdown because we do not have enough New Zealanders currently vaccinated to stop an outbreak.
And then this whole thing blew open last week with a report out of Oxford, the tropical medicine unit located in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. They were fully vaccinated workers with AstraZeneca about 2 months after being vaccinated, so as good as you're going to get, and they started to develop Delta. It was a very well-done study. It was published in Lancet. And then the bombshell finding was that the viral loads in the mouth and nose of those vaccinated were 251 times that from the previous unvaccinated era.
So why are we in lockdown?
We're in lockdown because we do not have enough New Zealanders currently vaccinated to stop an outbreak.
So as we sit here today, the vaccinated are, it appears to be super spreaders. They're carrying large amounts of virus and then passing it to the unvaccinated.
So why are we in lockdown?
We're in lockdown because we do not have enough New Zealanders currently
Sorry, mic's off. There was some screaming, and you guys, you just missed a good rant in there, but I'll do it again. What is going on with Peter McCullough where they can ignore the 85% treatment, they can ignore all that, but it doesn't do anything. 250 times the viral load is in the people who are vaxxed. And yes, it was a good rant. Let's do it again. Peter McCullough hasn't been listened to. If you care about this virus, 85% lowering of hospitalizations, guys. 85% lowering. It's all over if you just believe him. Erase that fictional pile of bodies where you throttled up the test to create this illusion that, oh, well, it's a rare heart thing compared to our fictional pile of bodies where we just throttled up a test and everyone that normally died of the flu. It was in the millions, wasn't it? Like 38 million died of the flu worldwide or America or no, worldwide. I don't know. But it's in the millions and it went to almost nothing. It went to thousands. Millions went to thousands. Where'd they all go? Oh, they turned into PCR results, didn't they? To generate this hysteria, to make people believe that Peter McCullough, again, the guy that's laying it out on this chick, this largemouth bass, to convince you all that, oh, you just got to get it. 250 times the viral load. Put that in your child. Let them carry around 250 times the viral load. Let it miss the Delta completely. Give us our fictional studies where we tell you that it's the vaccinated who are doing better than the unvaccinated. That's completely untrue. And you have that nurse, I didn't find the link for it, but there's that nurse in Australia who was saying, what was it? That they treat you if you're vaccinated with ivermectin. If you're vaccinated, if you're unvaccinated, no, let's just let them stew. Let's build it up for our next flawed test where we're going to just bring it down from Top Doctor Mountain, our fucking lies about how all these people are doing much worse without the vaccine. The conflict of interest has reached a runaway proportion where there's no turning back for them now. They are just Thelma and Louise driving off the cliff. There's no way they can turn back. They just hope enough zombies follow them off the cliff where they can then blame it on the ones who didn't go off the cliff. And I guess their ghosts just haunt us. I don't know what they're up to, guys. I don't need to know. We know enough to stop the trial. They don't have enough evidence to continue the experiment, yet they keep mandating it further as if it's fucking working. They've admitted they don't even work on the booster shots. It's just the same junk they gave you the first time. You don't think that they should look at the data and go, oh man, we knocked out your gold standard antibodies, as Dr. Bauer told us from the France Crick Institute, 5 to 6 times lower 2 weeks after your second jab, and gets lower and lower. And the older you are, the faster it lowers. Yet they're saying we need to target the elderly with these. We need to do a targeted approach. Keep that shit away from the elderly. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Give them ivermectin. Send them out of long-term care homes. Let's do like a foster program for the elderly. Hey, you lost your grandma? Here's a new grandma for you. Just get them away from sharing the same air in these poorly ventilated facilities where a bunch of weakened immune systems are carrying 250 times the viral load because they believe Talk Dr. Mountain. Jesus Christ, we're fucked, guys. We are absolutely fucked by these people, and at least we have it all down here now. Save all this stuff, guys. Put it on disc, and we'll get back to it. I don't know if I got more. There's plenty more. What do we say? Vax for toddlers. Like, that's all it is. I'm just doing this to show you. This is the general push they do every day. Every day they got something for us, guys.
We have not stopped tracking COVID-19 just because this is election day. There is a major vaccine development to share with you. Pfizer says clinical trials show the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is safe and it is effective for children as young as
250 times the viral load for 5-year-olds.
5. CBC's Hillary Johnstone is on this story live from our nation's capital. So
These
what are you hearing
evil.
from the U.S. drug company, Hillary?
Well, so Hannah, what we're hearing is that for children between the ages of 5 and 11, that it appears that their vaccine, this Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, that it is effective, that it provides a robust immune response, and that it's also safe, saying that the side effects that they saw in this trial they did of about 2,200 kids, that the side effects were quite comparable to what they'd seen in those older age groups, so quite mild side effects. So of course,
quite mild. Myocarditis is mild, 6 times more likelihood of having a heart attack or weaker heart function in late life, but that's just mild. Put it into your 5-year-old who's not in any fucking danger.
this is really big news, good news for parents.
It's all just bombardment based on the hysteria that was caused by this whole thing from the start, and zombies are on board like, I bought it. When can I get my children safe? We're all safe from this.
About their kids, teachers, of course, now that schools are reopened, and really for all of us as we watch this fourth wave of the pandemic take hold across the country. And earlier we heard from Dr. Christopher Labos, and he explained exactly what it is that we're hearing from Pfizer today.
What they've said so far is that the antibody responses in this younger age group were the same as
antibody responses, just like Dr. McCullough just said. Oh, here's what you need to get in the Delta variant, and the antibodies are just going around it because they're not looking for anything except the unvaried version of COVID, last year's COVID. And what has Pfizer done? Oh, we just test the same shit on everyone all the time. Our booster shots are not tweaked. They're not updated at all. These people are fucked up lunatics. Christopher Labos.
The older age groups that we've seen already, and so it's reasonable to assume.
Cardiologist. Imagine a cardiologist suggesting 5-year-olds get something that's known to cause myocarditis and pericarditis, the sac of the heart, inflammation. This is the worst human being ever. I bet he's extremely well paid, though.
That the efficacy of the vaccine is going to be just as good in this younger age.
Yeah, just as good efficacy. You're going to bring 0.02% chance of death down to 0.00. Not fucking possible to be efficacious.
Group. So, number one, it works. And number two,
it works all right.
There doesn't seem to
if
be
you're a Molochian trying to sacrifice children to your evil god.
And those are the two things that we want to look at.
So a couple of important things to point out here, Suhana. First of all, Pfizer now has to apply to the FDA for approval. So still going to be a while before these shots actually start going into arms. But of course, this is a really...
And they call it approval. It's not approval. They approved something that wasn't even built. And the shit that they're selling you is still just authorized under the emergency measures. But they're like, yeah, it's going to be approved. But it's going to be approved under an emergency. And it's still a trial. And we have no data except it causes heart problems when your kids were never in danger. The psychotic nature of this just shows how many people are fucked. And that's why I've always said, we spread the truth. That's our hammer. The sword is the zombies. The anvil's their fucking side effects. Because we normally hit them and there's nothing. They're just going to wail in the wind. But we can forge them out of zombiehood back into something resembling a thinking human being if we really try.
Important step, the fact that they have come out with this information, but also important to point out that so far this information has not been peer reviewed, it has not been published.
Of course
we are getting this from a news release, a press release from Pfizer that they put out today.
Press release from Pfizer. The guys who don't do anything except say, we're going to do a study, we're going to release the same shit, we're not even evolving it, there's no 2.0 vaccine, the booster is the fucking same. Every 6 months your immunity wanes, and with it waning it takes your natural immunity as well. And it lets the next variants go 250 times more of a comfortable home. That fucking genie lamp from I Dream of Jeannie, that's what it makes for the virus, to just sit down there and have a great old time to make other variants, and then the next variants will be blamed on the unvaccinated. The shit that they have to pull to blame the unvaccinated is the sickest part, and that's what we can't see. We can't see behind that curtain of how they're generating this. We could see when that nurse from Australia was saying that ivermectin is being used on the vaccinated and the unvaccinated are just being let to stew, probably going untreated. These psychopaths, how do they do it? It's fucking insane, but it's happening, guys. It's real and it's happening, and we need to wake up these parents. Whoever is crazy enough to inject their kids, I'm going to be screaming at them when they tell me at Thanksgiving. I'm going to stand up and go, I'm not even fucking giving you my homemade cranberry sauce because you injected your child with a fucking mutation device. You sick fuck.
But of course, some welcome news, an important step in making sure that some of those younger kids get vaccinated. Because up until now, of course, that Pfizer...
This is the focus, guys. Remember this. The whole point of this, the focus is on children today. It's not even the election that got the top stories. All of this is the first 4 I saw.
Vaccine has been used in those who were 12 years of age.
Just repeated bombardment. I know it's nothing new to us, but isn't it crazy to see that every day it's just more tweaking, just more a little more hope. We don't have the studies in, but we're hoping. It looks like it's going to have the same effect on 5-year-olds as the horrible effects it had on 12-year-olds and up, who were never in any danger, but now they fucking are.
Mm-hmm. This study looked at those 5 to 11-year-olds.
Any sense, Hillary, of when kids here might get access to that shot?
Yeah, that's a great question. The sooner the better.
The first step, Suhana, is that Pfizer is going to have to apply to Health Canada for approval. And
apply to Health Canada. I really hope that they don't get around our interior designer in charge of Health Canada, who said that viruses don't obey borders when it could have killed 1 in 4. And then when we know it's just the same as the flu, they're like, no, we need borders around 37 million of you. 6 feet, mask on. I'm an interior designer. So I bet they'll have a really hard time selling Patty Hadju on that when Trudeau's already bought up to like 2024 of this junk that they don't even improve on.
heard from Pfizer Canada today. They do say that they
This is going to go down as the biggest fucking genocidal scandal ever.
Top of mind for everyone, especially for parents, but they didn't provide any sort of timeline on when that might happen. They did say that they've been working really closely with Health Canada. They've been providing data as they've been going so that Health Canada is really up to speed. Now, in terms of other studies, we know that Moderna is also currently doing a study on how this vaccine is going to be tolerated by younger kids, and Pfizer is now looking at other studies for 2 to 5-year-olds, and then also babies who are 6 months old up to 2 years old. So there are a number of other studies that we're going to be watching.
Jesus Christ. These true psychopaths need everybody in. That's the one thing they need, is everybody jump in the Destructo machine. And if they can get us to do it, that is proof that they have fully secured our society. Luckily, 7 million of us are not fully vaccinated, and I am pretty damn sure that those 7 million are never going to do it, and our numbers are only going to grow from the people that have buyer's remorse from saying, never had to do this, never stopped me from transmitting it, so I can't save grandpa with it. The next variants are 250 times more in my shit going everywhere than if I'd never done this. Jesus. I just want people to pay attention. I want the good doctors that we have left to be doing studies on the ones that got 2 hits, but then they're bowing out of the 3rd hit, because they're going to have to be monitored closely. They're going to need to be fucking dropping ivermectin shots into their coffee every morning just to keep the flu away this winter. And all of our good doctors, all the Kulvinder Gills, are going to need to be watching them and go, look, we're so glad you want out of this. We're going to do a class action lawsuit. We're going to look at a molecular level what the fuck these are doing to you, because maybe we can create some mRNA message that says, good Lord, stop making spike proteins. Good Lord, stop destroying their gold standard neutralizing antibodies.
In the weeks and months to come about how this vaccine is going to be tolerated in younger kids. But in terms of a timeline, we don't know yet. But Dr. Labos said that this is going to be really big for those school-age children once it is approved.
We'll talk again.
When we can actually start vaccinating these children depends on...
Exactly, go get 'em, girl. We survived all this shit, and we accepted that life has its risks. I can get struck by lightning if I go outside during a lightning storm. I still go outside to smoke a joint. I still stand under a tree knowing that that will probably increase the chances too. We live with risk every day of our lives, but we have just been infantilized by this media bombardment, making us scared of the flu. Oh, but the flu disappeared. Oh, but that independent lab that took 1,500 samples that were supposedly COVID and said, no, these are all influenza A and B, because COVID doesn't fucking exist. Well, maybe it does. I mean, they patented it in 1999 or whatever, and then released it on us in 2003, as Dr. Martin said. But I want him to talk to other people and go, this thing exists, or is the flu just going untreated? And then we get our immune system perverted with this mRNA and make it easier for the normal cold flu that varies a lot. The variants are always occurring. It's called flu season. Then the end of flu season is when we get herd immunity to it all. Are they just making it worse? I want that. I want that debate between 2 doctors that are knowledgeable in this shit to just go at it. I don't need it to be me. I would rather just have doctors going at this, but that's not allowed. Top Doctor Mountain only banishes doctors. They only approach them from their higher-ups, from the College of Physicians, from wherever they're accredited, and say, you stop this, you're causing vaccine hesitancy, and that's interfering with our vaccine certainty, which has ignored the 85% could be saved treatment while we still pretend we care about anyone. Fuck off.
How quickly the vaccine actually receives approval, but one assumes that at some point during this school year we will be doing vaccines in...
Dude, it's going to be a time to kill Samuel L. Jackson if you come for my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old with one of these caravans that are like, children are or parents are substitute decision makers for their children. No, we're not. We are the decision makers for our children. And you creepy ass fucking doctors who I'm glad everyone sees it now. These doctors, we've revered them for so long. Yay, you went to school for a really long time and learned about a very narrow field where you trust information coming in from all different directions because you have to, because the field's so vast. Guess what? That was corrupted at the top. Top Dr. Mountain took it over and they just bombarded you with all this shit. I remember asking my doctor for hydroxychloroquine back in March 2020, and they said, oh, no, it would have been after that. It would have been after it was debunked. So like June 2020, and she's like, oh no, it causes heart inflammation. I'm like, oh, that's a debunked study. And I told her, and she's like, no, that's actually the information. Okay, there goes top doctors for me. My doctor turned into a top doctor. Unfortunate for me. And we're all dealing with this, guys. I have a wife that really, she trusts the doctors she works with. These are like hardcore surgeons that are just saving lives every day, but they don't have time to look into all this shit. So they don't. And they trust Top Doctor Mountain. And that's why we're all fucked.
Elementary school children, which is going to make school at least slightly less worrisome for parents.
Oh, it's slightly less worrisome to know that all the kids are carrying 250 times the viral load that they would if you just stayed in fucking bed and stopped trying to poison everyone? Get real. Christopher Labos. I'm going to remember you, buddy. I'll remember your name when I'm shaming Top Doctor Mountain. They found another one. Maybe this guy's been around for a while. I don't know. This is the last Top Doctor story that I saw coming through.
Get ready for fall. Infectious disease experts say your risk of running into the coronavirus is rising. Whether you're...
You think? We all knew this was coming. But now it's when you tell us, vaccination is the key to avoiding, which is their word for make it 250 times worse of spreading it, I guess, of the Delta variant.
Vaccinated or not.
Unless you literally just lock yourself away and live in a bubble for the next, a year or two, you're pretty much going to get exposed to it almost for sure.
The highly contagious Delta variant is...
So they lower your expectations in the vaccines just off the top. So if we all got vaccinated, it wouldn't even be a flu season because the vaccines work so well. Oh, no, that's actually the treatment. If you used ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and vitamin D and whatever the protocol Peter McCullough put in place, then yeah, we would pretty much destroy flu season this year. But no, you're just going to ready us for it. You're just going to say, well, it's coming anyways, but maybe you'll lessen the symptoms. And you'll let that virus just make a nice home for yourself and make new variants, which we can blame further, and just turn this murderous orgy of viruses that have been fucking each other and making super viruses to later just blame on the unvaccinated who wanted you to acknowledge evidence from the beginning that you'd never looked at. You just wanted our doctors to be fired for raising their concerns. Never debating it, forgetting about the scientific method, forgetting that everyone that wins the Nobel Prize does some humble thing of look, as great as my achievement is, I can't wait for someone to debunk this and forward the scientific field and make my work irrelevant. That doesn't happen on Top Doctor Mountain. We use the same crappy poison over and over and over, and if you're vaccine hesitant, that's your problem because we told you and we're from Top Doctor Mountain.
Over 80% of infections in Canada.
So there's a lot of worry about Delta.
Experts say what sets Delta apart is
Here it
how
is.
much virus is produced.
Yeah, 250 times. Is that what it looks like? Okay, so yeah,
People
makes
who are
sense.
infected. One study found Delta...
People who are infected. See, this is where they're lying to us. No, it's people that have had the jab that their nose looks like it's fucking confetti.
and hits peak virus levels much faster than other variants. And that's why being vaccinated really matters.
If you're vaccinated, you start controlling the virus and killing it off, basically.
Oh, killing it off, basically? No, you start evolving it, and we all know this. You know why he's pausing it. He's so unsure of it. He's lying right into the camera.
If you're unvaccinated, you just keep going up and up and up.
No, we don't. We have our neutralizing antibodies, which address it early. God willing. I mean, maybe you'll create some super poisonous one that will just overcome us all because you've just let it go that far. I mean, who was the Pfizer? Malone, Keaton, was that his name? Heaton? Who's that guy? There's like another top doctor, Yeadon. I think that's the one, right? Is he ex-CDC or ex-Pfizer top doc? And he was saying, he's like, you're evolving the fucking plague. You're evolving the actual bubonic plague that is going to murder us all, and that's your goal. But we can't convince anyone because you put a guy on TV, and we trust the TV because we're not thinkers. Most of Canada, we're not thinkers.
And potentially you can develop very severe disease.
Yeah, potentially, because of you guys. Because of your fucking variants.
Experts say unvaccinated people are far more vulnerable to Delta, and they shed the virus for longer stretches of time.
Longer stretches of time? What happened to that 250 times the viral load carrying part? Maybe you just carry a huge amount of it for less time and we carry a small amount of it for larger time? What's more deadly? Who's to say? I can't trust you to tell me.
I think that is kind of what the reality of where we're at, and it feels
is it kind of what the reality is? Yeah, everything is like this at Top Doctor Mountain. It's completely hedging expectations of themselves. But don't trust your natural immunity. Let's just destroy your natural immunity.
We're kind of running out of time to protect people, with vaccine.
Since vaccination started, nearly 85% of people hospitalized with COVID-19 have been unvaccinated.
And how do we trust that? How do we trust that you're not using the protocols? I mean, you've ignored the protocol that saves 85% of all of us that Peter McCullough came out with. Sorry for being repetitive, but they're being repetitive. So I'm going to match it. So they've ignored the stuff that could save us all. How do we know that once you go that far, you're not just skewing it like the nurse in Australia said by giving ivermectin to the ones who are vaccinated, or just keeping the test high? So, oh yeah, you're never getting out of here because you keep testing positive, and the vaccinated ones we're just going to send home because we throttled it down and we declare them healthy. I can't trust any of this information after the amount of crimes that have been committed that won't go investigated.
Less than 1% were fully vaccinated.
Suddenly I came down the shaking chills hard enough.
Completely against Gibraltar, Iceland, UK, Israel, completely against that, but never measure studies against other studies. Just go for the one that you like. If it suits your narrative, only mention that one and count on the fact of 80% of Canada just watching this garbage doctor show.
Enough that I had a hard time writing. If you looked at my penmanship, you'd think I was on a moving train.
American doctor Mark
Former breakthrough patient. It sounds so positive. Former failed vaccine candidate who got shit anyways. Like the worst vaccine on earth track record that we just keep going, though, because, you know, it's already in motion. We've already bought them up to 2025.
Had a breakthrough infection. Even though vaccines show our immune system a preview of the invader so it knows what to attack, some people can still...
No, it doesn't show you a preview of the invader because you just told us Delta variants came out after your first one. So the first one, Delta variants never existed, and just like Peter McCullough said, it won't recognize it now because it's evolved, and you're just going to keep showing it the old one. It's evolved. I don't know what kind of experts you have, but I'm sure they probably look like Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels
while
from
their
Dumb and
immune
Dumber.
cells work to clear the virus.
Breakthrough cases have an average symptom duration of 2.7 days, and I was 2.5.
So, hey, Christine, I guess the difficult question here is, with Delta fueling this ongoing fourth wave, should we expect another lockdown in the fall?
Listen, we're nowhere near lockdowns right now, but I did...
Yeah, right now, but you've made all the nurses want to leave and you've made all the doctors want to leave. You're crumbling the system by forcing them to get into your nightmare machine. So, of course, you're going to have less and less nurses working, and you're going to declare that as, oh, it's all the more proof that we all need to get vaccinated because the hospital services are so strained.
Speak with 2 infectious disease experts about Delta, and they both said yes, if cases rise dramatically, lockdowns could happen, but they're completely...
We're all at the whim. If cases rise dramatically and we haven't solved the PCR test from which everything we're downstream of, we're just toiling downstream of a problem that we refuse to resolve upstream. But yeah, we're at their whim, guys. This is a total medical dictatorship coup, not based in science. If it was, they'd be allowed to debate, but they don't debate. They just discredit any doctors that want to care about you and uphold their Hippocratic oath. This is a fucking nightmare, and this is why we can't talk to people, because they get bombarded with this. It's like, well, I saw 3 doctors today on my top stories. There's no way. You might be right, and one of them might be wrong, but I saw 3, and there's not 3 of you.
Avoidable, and the trigger is hospitalizations. We know that come fall, schools will reopen, Canadians will move back inside, and cases will rise. But we also know that masks, distancing, proper ventilation can bring them back down. We also know that vaccines can clear that virus out of our systems quickly and keep people out of hospital. So we have all the tools to save lives and prevent lockdowns, but we have to use them.
What a bullshit. I hate that we pay for this. We pay for the diamond-studded noose that hangs us with these fucking idiots that just keep citing their own runaway data, runaway consensus data here. I remember listening, what was it, a couple days ago. It was on one of the other earlier episodes of Dr. Walensky, the top doctor at CDC, who the girl asked her, she's like, so the first 2 jabs are the same as the third one, and you're saying that the third one's going to do any better against variants, which Peter McCullough just said it's not going to do any better. It's like, yeah, we're hopeful. There's no data. We're hopeful, and there's no data. That's the top doctor at the CDC telling people that. And we still refuse to wake up out of this? I don't know. I know I'm just preaching to the choir now, guys, but fuck. What's going on here? What is going through the minds of these zombies where we can't get through to them? We need that iPad. We need to set it to a top doctor that's way more qualified than these little half-wits that are showing up on here that are going 180. There's an argument, guys. At the very least, there's an argument between the results of data, between what they're producing and what we're seeing from Israel, Iceland, all these ones that says it's hell on earth if you're vaccinated. And the nurses that are admitting, yeah, the protocols they're using are very deceptive and sly. Throttled up tests and treatment with ivermectin, and not the same thing if you're unvaccinated. We're in a great deal of danger, and we need to form up right now. And I think the red line's going to be when they stop seeing us, because this narrative is designed for one thing: keep you out of the healthcare system, deem you a subversive and a danger to the society, and we can't afford to let you in our hospitals and infect all the vaccinated ones. Again, ironic admittal that the vaccines don't work. So I don't know. That's it for the top 5 stories that I saw today, but it was a complete bummer. It was a complete bummer to see that, yep, they're coming for the kids. They're building up the foreshadowing of hell on earth this winter. I hope there's a black market for ivermectin that we can all get in touch with for all the demons that are incubating in the immune systems of the vaccinated people. But everything they're saying is hell on earth coming this winter, and they're coming for your children, and they're letting children decide. Are they going to let the 5-year-olds? Am I a substitute decision maker for my 5-year-old? You sneak up to my school with a little... We need school watch. We need like people armed with like armbands on that are walking around schools making sure that like ice cream truck with vaccines on it doesn't pull up like, hey kids, John Torres here, come get your ice cream. You get your ice cream for a free shot. We're not gonna, your parents aren't here, but they're just your substitute decision makers. You're the primary decision maker, and let me tell you, to fulfill my duty of giving you informed consent, I'm gonna inform you that COVID's pretty bad. If you take this, we're going to put you down as you're vaccinated. And Top Dr. Mountain says once we're all vaccinated, we're good. So there's your informed consent. Here you go. Here's your ice cream. Here's a little rocket popsicle for you. Now just roll up your arm. What are parents going to... Why haven't we seen more stories of parents fuming over kids that are 12 even? Like Chris is in here or was in here. I don't know. Oh, he's still in here. But like having a 12-year-old is terrifying to me right now. But they're coming for mine. So my turn is up. My turn's up now, too. Everyone else's turn is up. Who is not going to be aghast at them coming from the children? It's fucking crazy, man. Yes, I'll talk to you about that when we meet up. Let me change off of this. Let's go back to where we can see comments. Yeah, guys, I'm just like, it's disturbing to watch this stuff, but we got to keep up with what they're hinting towards. It's the only way to read the tea leaves and know what's coming down the pike next. Yeah, if I got to patrol school, it won't be armed with a... Yeah, I know. I'm not a big gun guy because I know that feeds into the Bill Blahr, exactly what they want us to be, that, the guys with guns. Right now, I think our strength lies in the fact that we all group up. There's millions of us. 7 million of us, dude. You think that number's going to get any lower after all this shit show? Kept my son home this year because of pop-up clinics. Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm not allowed in the school at all. Fuck. Aren't we all just being overly skeptical? I mean, the COVID measures eliminated the seasonal flu. Yeah. The flu's gone, guys. We did great. In those little moments that we keep moving without addressing the moments behind them is what disturbs me about the critical thought of the people we live with in general. And so the war doesn't need to be guns. It needs to be shouting matches going, I don't care if you're using that fucking heuristic if we'd ever talk about politics or religion. We're approaching a civil war, dude. I want those water cooler conversations to start. Because we got to start realizing that we're on the fast track for flying the plane into bankrupt, insolvent country mountain because they just shut everything down. We don't care. You can't boycott anything. The government will just pay that restaurant. No one's going to your, Chick-fil-A, Chick-a-Fil or whatever. So we're gonna subsidize it, and we're gonna pay you thousands of dollars, and we're gonna pay all your employees to stay home. They can beat us by using our own tax dollars. And I hope, guys, tonight the election that we win it. But again, who trusts them in charge of the process? Are you guys really gonna believe that we can beat Trudeau's counting rooms? Like if there's a GoPro on every bin that gets sent to Ottawa, maybe I'll buy it. But once it gets to Ottawa and it can enter a room where anything can happen, I don't know, maybe the ridings just declare their totals before they go to Ottawa. And then what? They can magically, we know how many mail-in ballots they're just going to use? What if we get like 300,000 mail-in ballots from China pre-printed that is just waiting there as a reservoir for Trudeau to activate as needed, just like they did with Trump in America? I'm not trying to blackpill anyone on the election. I'm just looking at it as a bonus. Like, this is our group. PPC's our group. We're going to stay together. We're going to stay together and hold strong with this because I see them everywhere, dude. I was dudes and dudettes. Like, I see people coming up and saying, yeah, man, I'm PPC too. And I'm like, cool. Patriots. That's pretty much all I say to them. And we are patriots. We're the ones that care about our country, and we're building it back. And there's more and more people every day, dude. They get it. It's happening. The truth hammer versus the anvil of side effects is working. We don't talk next steps on the internet. Yeah. I got to go, Alex. Thanks for the chat. Yeah, go. Yeah, thanks. Go get him, girl. It's good to have the chat be so alive. Oh, Derek's here. What's up, homies? Chris got my patches today. What, nicotine patches? You quitting smoking, Derek? Is that what's going on? Or is it patches for, like, the red, or for the Plaid Army? Because I want one of those, too, because I'm about to be initiated. I think I've always loved the Plaid Army. I think it was just in 2019 where it felt like you guys were kind of going to go off grid, and I was in the mood for PPC, where it felt like it might have been... almost like a black pill group, the Plaid Army. Was it that? I don't know. Answer me, Chris or Derek. What, am I wrong on that one? Was there a political... It was just apolitical, maybe. I don't know. But the times were drastically different. I'm just ecstatic that Plaid Army's on board, and we got another group. We're just an alliance of groups with good causes. Diagolon patches. Yeah, that's one thing I need to... Is there a link you guys can drop where I learn the lore of Diagolon? Is that one of those funny movies that Derek and Rance have put together? Diagolon. Yeah. And I don't care. I'll get one too, even if there's some story on, oh, this is associated to the anti-hate group reported that this means Nazism. It's basically a flattened out swastika. Plaid Army patch here. Cool. Oh, come do some shooting. Oh, I'm down, bro. I think you're north, right? You're north. You're within a driving range. I'll take the kids up there to learn how to shoot. They're gun obsessed. They play games that are completely like Bloodborne. I've got like a 7-year-old playing that, and I feel so bad about it. But they all love guns, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to resist this natural urge of boys for guns. We're like, oh, don't, they'll be too violent. I'm like, we got to start raising Spartan children at this point. With the way that our future's looking, so yeah, I see all Derek's like footage of like wolves and shit. Yeah, let's go hunt some of that. Just don't trust me with the gun. I'm untrained. I use charm. I get up real close, and then you think I'm your friend, and then I hit that button on your chin as hard as I can, right when you think we're best friends, so I can pretend I'm evil to get within punching range, and that's been my go-to up to this point. But I've also said a pistol that fires shotgun shells called the Governor is pretty much my cup of tea. That's what I want. So if I ever do get a gun, and it's probably not allowed in Canada, but that sounds like a really good gun for me, is a pistol that fires shotgun shells. But yeah, I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't know when you guys are getting started. I'm kind of shooting for, I don't know when the election heats up, when it's this and when it's that, but I'm shooting for like 6:30, get ready, 7 o'clock, go somewhere. And if go somewhere means to Derek's channel or Chris's channel or something, I prefer being a guest where I don't need to worry about any of the logistics or putting in like a fucking hyperlink or just thinking about that stuff. So I'm happy to join your guys' shit whenever you're ready to go. I don't know what the timing's like. I know you're going on Tyler Russell's show, Canada First. I hope I'm on there with Nick Fuentes during that time, but I think it won't go like that, right? I'll just be like, when they run out of interesting people, I'm up. So I'm somewhere down the line from Chris and Derek on that one. But guys, this is really fun. I've got to pay a lot of attention to my kids to get the night off and get the wife to cover for me at bedtime as we do the election night stream. But I'm going to shut this one down. And thanks, everyone, for joining in. I love just reviewing the news. Even though it's all shit that we all agree on, it's good to keep track of what the enemy's up to. And these guys are in mind control program. Go for the kids and foreshadow the Armageddon come winter. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to hit stop on this one now. But if you guys are rocking out, fire up a new one, and I'll listen to it as I do kid chores. Peace on earth and goodwill towards those whom God finds favor. That was the original quote. It was turned into peace on earth and goodwill towards men. But that's just a little learning lesson before we go. Thanks so much, guys. I'll play more horrible music, or me playing good music horribly at the beginning of next stream. And then we'll watch Chris Burke tonight get up and do his jam and play us out after the election results are in and we win a PP.